All right, how y'all doing out there? And what is going on with you guys? This is Steve here on a Sunday. Boy, oh boy, I wish I could be here in a better mood and wish I could be here. To put a better spin on things, but the bottom line is your team, our team got dominated today. Just embarrassing performance from the Atlanta Falcons. There are too many things to go over in this game, and we'll try to lay it out as much as I can. But I'll leave the floor to your comments and let you guys talk. I know it's a lot of ranting going on. I'm not going to sit here and try to pretend like there is a silver lining. I guess the only silver lining in this game is that we hurry up and play on Thursday, so we don't have to go at least all week and talk about this debacle in Dallas. And it begs to differ, and that's what the case is going to be. And I know today is not going to be about. It's going to be about a horrible game, bad coaching, suspect defense. But my basic question is going to be, is this a good Dallas team or a very bad Falcons team? Because when you lose in the way that we lost, the 43-3 final today, when you lose like that, it means you weren't prepared. It's one thing, we've seen the Falcons give up that opening drive touchdown before in a lot of games this year, and we were 4-5 now, and we've been able to rebound and come back. But I really want to know, and I want you guys to comment and tell me, was this today a snapshot of a very good Dallas team or a very bad Falcon team? It's a fair question. I know emotions right after the game is going to run to very bad Falcons team, but I just want to know how everybody else is feeling about it. And I'll tell y'all my feelings once we get into things a little bit. And thank you for joining me in the Atlanta Bird Game in 3 different places. Atlanta Bird Game on Facebook, also on my personal timeline. Thank y'all for joining me on there. And more importantly, on Uncle Steve's Lounge on YouTube. Please feel free to go there, subscribe, and let's talk about this thing. Aaron is in the house. What's going on, Aaron? Aaron says these comments should be interesting today. Damon is on. What's going on, my friend? Says, I should have been cutting grass today, but I took off to watch the game. I should have cut the grass instead. My brother, I think about all the things I could have been doing today. RJ, what's going on, brother? Said, I'm embarrassed, Unc. It hurts, and it does. This is a very bad showing for your home team today. Damon says very bad Falcon team. Aaron said they did not have an answer for anything. Brandon, what's going on, Brandon? Brandon says Dallas is good. I hear you. Their offense can score 30 on anyone. Damon says the teams we beat probably overlooked us and got caught off guard. Vernon says we were not prepared. What's going on, Vernon? Nice. Glad to see you joining us in the house today talking about this. Terrence says, I stopped watching at 28-3. That makes two. That look, I wanted to stop. I couldn't stop. I did watch. Tony says bad Falcons team, but disappointing. Wasn't competitive at all. And I think that's one of the things that you start looking at. I think what bothered me was after you decide to go for it on 4th and 7. And listen, I'm not even knocking the decision to go for it. I know there are a lot of folks in the streams that we were watching going around of the 4th and 7, you should have kicked 3 and whatever. And there's a part of me that understands that too. But as we saw right after that, this is not a team that's you're gonna beat throwing up Younghoe Koo field goals. So I like the fact that we were aggressive. I just don't like the fact that we didn't execute on a lot of things. It's not like the Dallas defense, the front four, was exactly wreaking havoc on Matt before it became, 21-3. 21-3, you can kind of pin your ears back and start going for it. And that's what they did. Before that, they were just doing, they were basically more aggressive than the Falcons. And the referees were keeping their flags in their pocket for the most part. When you start looking at some of the close man coverage that some of the Dallas Cowboys cornerbacks were playing, the referees were saying, let them play. So I'm kind of surprised we didn't, try to mirror that same kind of aggressiveness. If you see the referees are going to let you play, then you have to get aggressive too. And I think we just weren't aggressive today. This was a horrible game. Horrible. Andre Day Ricky says, like the movie Aliens, take off from planet LV4 and nuke this team from orbit. I know that's the first thoughts we have coming off of a loss. I know we're upset. I get it, buddy. I get it. Aaron said it's both an unprepared Falcons team and a little bit above average Dallas team. Twan says very good Dallas team, but we were bad today. I'm embarrassed. We should be embarrassed. Those folks that went out there to Dallas, I feel bad for them. There is nothing more demoralizing than traveling over 500 miles to see your home team and to see them come up with an effort where they did not even score a touchdown. This is the team last week that we gave them their roses, and I talked about this last week, and I try to explain that to folks when we talk about these things, that this is the NFL is such a week-to-week league. Last week, Dallas didn't even score their first 2 touchdowns until the fourth quarter when the game was way out of reach and they weren't going to come back. And all of a sudden, you had questions about what Dallas was going to be. In turn, last week, Atlanta went to New Orleans. No one expected them to put up a big fight, especially with that New Orleans defense. And we went out there and shocked the world and took one from New Orleans. As bad as today was, the greatest thing going forward is that we play on Thursday. You don't have time to sulk. You don't have time for a lot of media. You don't have time to sit down and overanalyze how you got destroyed. You might have to burn that tape on the way to Atlanta. Throw that tape, leave that tape on the plane, and just start game planning for New England, a New England team that just beat the snot out of Cleveland. So we gotta pay attention to that, y'all. Steven, what's going on? Steven Jackson says the Falcons are bad. To be honest, bro, if folks thought we could really win this year, they are tripping. We have a quarterback on the downside of his career. We stink up the front and both sides of the ball. Damon says the team beat themselves. The Falcons cornerbacks didn't come to the game. Brandon says we got New England this week. Let's move on. Damon says, I knew we were in trouble when Fowler was cleared to play. Fowler got juked on one of those plays, too. Something told me not to talk crap about the Cowboys. The Falcons shut my mouth for me. Listen, David, all 31 teams want to talk junk about the Cowboys. Trust me. And it's easy. The Cowboys, what's going on, Christian? The Cowboys are probably one of the most annoying fan bases going around. So it's easy to talk junk about them. Terrell says that's ridiculous, and they call themselves professionals. It's embarrassing. There is no defense for Atlanta today. Arthur Smith right now should feel really. This is probably the lowest point of the first 9 games, and yes, it should be a low point before anybody says don't over exaggerate. Damon says we didn't have time to bench 22 either. Man, look. I'm trying to tell you. Jay says you got to give Dallas credit. They are now 7-2 for a season for a reason. They're actually 6-2 for a reason. They're actually 7-2 now. Dexter says I can't believe I spent my hard-earned money to come to Dallas and see this ish. Someone owes me a refund due to Braves play today. Oh man. Ryan says they truly gave up on Arthur Smith. I see you. David says, I'm sorry, Steve. I'm knocking the 4th and 7 decision. It killed the momentum. We were only down 1 with that field goal and fringe in this game. And listen, I'm not defending saying don't go for it and take the 3. That's fine. I hear where you're coming from. I understand why you went for it. 4th and 2, 4th and 3 might be a little bit more of a, okay, let's give it a shot. Yeah, 4th and 7, but I get it. Tony says, play on Thursday. You'll see New England today. Belichick about the school, Arthur Smith. Jeffrey, what's going on? Jeffrey, how you doing, brother? Say, our Falcons is just terrible all the way around. No more, no less. I hate every week. It's the same. It's not the same every week because last week we were celebrating. 3 teams you don't lose to at all. The Cowgirls, the Aints, and the Patriots. Oh, and one more team you don't lose to, the haters. Yeah, I hear you, brother. I hear you. Christian says, Dan Quinn had a game plan for us today. His goal was to make Matt uncomfortable in the pocket. But let's not act like Matt was super uncomfortable at the beginning. It's not like when you were making those passes to Kyle Pitts on that first drive, in the second drive, that he wasn't putting that much heat on them. As a matter of fact, they were only rushing 4. They weren't bringing the linebackers early in that game. Not at all. Damon says Arthur needs to walk back to Atlanta so he can think about what he did wrong. My brother Dexter says the Falcons should take the mega bus back to Atlanta. Brother Kivio, what's going on? My friend says, talk about getting our behinds whooped to us, man. Listen, I'm welcoming all of this, folks. I'm not expecting anybody to come in here and blow kisses to the Falcons today. You get kisses when you win games. Right now, you got to take it. You got to take all this criticism. Twan says, Uncle Steve, did I mention I was embarrassed? But it's time for the rebuild. How we play these next 3 weeks could determine our future. We might beat the Jags and Lions, maybe the Panthers. What's going on, Dre? How you doing, my friend? Damon says we only have 2 people on offense that can catch the ball, Patterson and Pitts. That's true. Look, y'all. It's a week-to-week league. It's a week-to-week. We are 4-5 because we're not a good team. Last week, we were ready to say, is this team going in the right direction? But I cautioned everybody last week when we talked about it. This week was going to tell the tale. We playing a Dallas team that was embarrassed last week at home. A Dallas team that a lot of people before last week's game were thinking they're going to be in the Super Bowl. Now, I'm not here to tell you after today's performance against a less than stellar Falcon team that the Dallas Cowboys are the odds-on favorite. But I will say, from a pride standpoint, you still want to play a little bit better. Christian says, if we continue to play like this for the rest of the season, who is in the hot seat, Dean Pease or Arthur Smith? I still have to see. I still need to see a little bit more. And I'm not trying to erase the bad when I say that, y'all. Atlanta played a horrible game on both sides. So I bet fact, all three phases because they got a punt blocked for a touchdown. When you play that bad on all sides of the ball, it's kind of hard to start talking about hot seats and things like this. This could be that throwaway game. It could be. This is not making excuses, folks. This could be that game of the year that you said, woo, we were completely out of it. Done. It could be. But 43-3, I don't care who your team is. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. Arlen says they can leave their equipment in Texas from Jersey to Gatorade. Charles Fields, how you doing, Charles? Charles says, is our coach on the hot seat in his first season? I dare say yes. Look, how am I going to argue? All right, what's going on, Dwayne? How you doing, man? Dwayne says we need to stop giving passes. That 4th and 7 was a bad decision. It killed all the momentum and the morale. We could never get it right after that. And again, I threw up a early. I get it, Dwayne. I do get it. Why he went for it on 4th down. But you're right in a sense too. They scored. We came back and scored. Our defense stopped them. Matter of fact, that might have been the only legit stopping of the offense, of the first string offense. That one drive. That was the only time we stopped them. So we go back down. I guess Arthur Smith says, hey, we got a couple of plays. We're moving down the field. Maybe we can cash in on this momentum. And it didn't work out. Lesson learned. But yeah, I understand how you say that's embarrassing. That is embarrassing. Isaiah, what's going on? Says Slaughter. This should make them want to avenge themselves on Thursday. And let me say something else. Oh, Ricky, what's going on, brother? Ricky says there needs to be a total fire sale on this team. I can't argue with you. I can't. Let me ask y'all this too. As bad as that game was going by early third quarter, knowing that you have a game on Thursday, why is Matt Ryan? Why is Kyle Pitts? Why are a lot of our starters still in that game? When they scored that 34 points, and I'm not trying to tell you to never give up. Look, we've seen teams come back against us in worse situations, but let's not fool ourselves. That game was not going our way. Actually, I think Dallas kind of eased up on the gas a little bit in the third quarter. It seemed like they tried to press down a little bit towards the end of the third quarter. But why do you have Matt Ryan in that game, knowing that Thursday you have to turn around and play a hot New England team that just destroyed Cleveland? Man, you should have been sitting Matt Cordero. We got to see what's going on with him. I know that he taped up his ankle a little bit earlier. And I know he didn't get in the game a whole bunch. Don't know what's going on with Terrell. AJ, hopefully he's okay. So we got a couple of nicks and bruises, and we have an important game. This game coming up definitely could change the trajectory of how we go forward next year. Because listen, as horrible as this 3-hour display was today, y'all, we still one win away from being 500. I'm not trying to delude anybody. I'm not trying to tell you we Super Bowl bound. I'm not trying to tell you we're a playoff team. But you don't give up after game 9 when you're 4-5. If we're 1-8, I get it. You're 4-5. You're 4-5, and this was a horrible game, and you got to flush that down the toilet. But you don't give up, though. I hear what everybody's saying. I know the feelings after a 40-point loss that you feel like there is nothing redeemable about this team. Throw it all away, whatever. Think about what they were saying last week in Dallas. And I listen. Dallas fans were ready to get rid of Zeke, get rid of Dak, dog out their wide receivers and everything last week. So, you gotta take the good with the bad sometimes. And this was horrible. Christian says, thank you, Tennessee, for beating the Eights today. Absolutely. Ricky says, doesn't matter if they, well, hold on. Because it doesn't matter if they stayed on the field, they gave it up in the second quarter. Absolutely. Isaiah says, Arthur isn't on the hot seat. He's doing as good as the rest of the rookie coaches. Isaiah said, had we scored before the half and came out and scored in the game, is the only way to justify leaving Matt in the game. I agree. Ricky says, Matt is not consistent. There's no way we can win this game that's coming up. Jaqual, what's going on, brother? Said, this was humbling. I had that feeling that we could only beat bad teams. Make no mistakes, despite your record. The Saints are bad without a quarterback. I know. I see you, brother. I see you on there. I'm going back and forth just to let y'all know. That's why I'm not putting all the comments on here. I'm trying to read it because sometimes it goes a little fast, so I'm trying to catch it for y'all. Isaiah says AJ was examined for a concussion. So unfortunately, if that happens and it's 4 days before you play the next game, yeah, the chances of seeing him are probably not good. Also says 4-5 in the division that's pretty much up for grabs. That's what I'm saying. The NFC is pretty much not a great conference right now. The AFC, they had 11 teams that were over 500 last week. Dre says Steelers game about to be a tie against the Lions. Yeah, I see that. I'm sitting over here watching it right now. Terrence says we could be the Lions. Absolutely, we could be. Absolutely. 6 seconds left. Detroit just threw this, and it is going to be a tie. The Pittsburgh Steelers just tied the Detroit Lions at 0-8. So again, I know Ben Roethlisberger is not there, but folks, any given Sunday, anything can happen. Dwayne says, I'm actually fine whether we win or lose now. I don't want to lose like that. The reality is that we're in a complete rebuild mode. We might not get back on track to 2023. Christian said, this is my opinion, but I feel like the Saints defense is better than Dallas. I was surprised we played today against Dallas. And who knows, maybe because it was the Saints, we had a little extra fire going on. I don't know. Maybe. Vernon says, I've had bad days at work, but I move on to the next day. You have to. You have to. There are. Look, this team, and we talked about it at the beginning of the year. This team has zero identity. And that's really not a knock as much as that sounds like it, because you didn't know what Arthur Smith was going to be about. We don't know how Matt Ryan was going to return this year. We had no clue on what this ragtag mixed bag of 1 or 2 year vets and a couple of journeymen was going to do on the defensive end. So mix that in, and it becomes unpredictable. Now, should we brush off a 40-point loss? No, not at all. You do need to address a lot of things. But I just don't want anybody to be misled by saying, okay, you knew coming into this year that Atlanta was going to be 11-6 or 12-5. I don't think anybody thought that. We hope that. As fans, we want that. But nobody was fooled into thinking that this team was going to overachieve. Maybe we were hoping we would get some really good coaching. But in a game like today, where you got pretty much jumped on from the beginning, you got to throw it away. You have New England in 4 days. You have a New England team that has some momentum. You have a New England team that's ready to move it. You have got to move on. Got a game on Thursday, y'all. Damon says, I'm not trying to see this team in the playoffs. Isaiah says, Saints are 5-5. You're right. Miles, what's going on, Miles? Miles said, my Falcons are upsetting me and clearly don't care about my emotional well-being. Well, Miles, I'm in that same boat, brother. I listen, I know the Falcons didn't intend to come out there and embarrass, but the great thing about it is we got 8 more weeks left. So let's see if we can turn this thing around. Dave says, good point about the Saints, Steve. We may still have been feeling ourselves from last Sunday. Twan says, we're still in the playoff picture, but if we lose the next 3, it's a wrap. But like I told people, patience is the key. We have a young team and a lot of young players. We will get better, but we have some issues, and I hope people don't expect Smith and Fontenot to fix the issues like that. Vernon says, yep, throw it away. Dre says, Steve, do you think Julio wish he was in the ATL based on his use in Tennessee? Well, even if he was in the ATL, I think the way he's limping around, I don't know if I want him or not. Isaiah says, Saints are a top 5 defense. Cowboys are top 10. Today was just one of them days. Once that 4th down call went left and Arthur got away from the game plan and the game got out of hand and left us predictable and one-dimensional with Matt Ryan, that's a recipe for a disaster. Arthur is fully responsible for this. Jaqual says Dallas refused to give the ball back even when they were in control. Them converting on 4th down more or less was not a killer. Being afraid to get beat deep is what's killing us on D. When the scheme is even after the last season and another regime later, no one has learned to stop conceding 5 to 10 yards off the back. You know, I watched them play 10 yards off of CeeDee Lamb and Cooper. And I understand because, you know, what's his name? Dean Pease was saying about he didn't want to expose his guys, but dude, come on, man. Y'all gotta show up. He said, I have never, this is horrible, man. We got shellacked. The stadium gonna be filled with Pats fans. Yeah, that's a horrible day for me too. That's a Thursday, so it was like, woo. Jamil, what's going on? Say, look at the garbage QBs the Falcons have beaten. The Falcons are fool's gold. Dan Quinn probably celebrating like he won the Super Bowl. I doubt it. Dan Quinn's got a long way to go. He shouldn't be complaining about anything. Or shouldn't be celebrating too hard. I know the defensive guys wanted to win it for him today. Look, today is one of those days that you're going to have to suck it up. As fans, every team has one of those games. Pittsburgh is having one of those days today. Did Tampa come back and win that game against Washington? I don't know if they did or not. But every team has those days, y'all. Every team has those days where you just suck. Kansas City is going through a lot of them this year. Buffalo is going through a few of them this year. I mean, you know, just these are those games. You got to flush it. You got to flush it down the toilet. There's nothing we can do. Whether Dallas won by 40 or won by 1, it's one win. We're 4-5. We lost by 40. That doesn't subtract 3 wins. You win by 40. It doesn't give Dallas 2 extra wins. It's one game. A game that we weren't favored in, and a game that, quite honestly, weren't expecting us to win outright. Should you be upset at the showing? Absolutely. That was embarrassing. Can't give up that many points in one quarter. You can't. So those are things that you're going to have to tighten up. But as an organization, like you go to the bathroom, flush, get some good Charmin, wipe it off, move on to the next game. You got to. You can't stay on top of it. Isaiah says, everyone keeps saying tear it down and rebuild. We have 10 different starters from last year. That's the example of a rebuild. It takes years, not just one offseason with no money. And also keep in mind, when people are talking about a rebuild, this is not officially a rebuild until number 2 is out of here. You don't do a rebuild with the same quarterback. And I'm not trying to, this is not a point the finger at Matt. So some of the folks, save your comments, save your drama for something like that. I'm not saying that this game was Matt's fault or whatever. This was a collective effort of futility. This was not on one person. This was a whole team effort. Offense, defense, special teams, coaching, ball boys, everybody. Everybody is collectively responsible for this shellacking in Dallas. Everybody. Michael says, you're mad about today. Meet in the playoffs. I mean, I can't get mad about one game. Dwayne says, a good running game would make our team a whole lot better. We do not have a running game, Dwayne, at all. At all. I warned folks at the beginning of the year about the Mike Davis signing. He was not brought in here to be a savior. He was not brought in here to be a superstar. He was not paid like a superstar. We were hoping that lightning struck twice, once in Carolina and second here in Atlanta, and it just hasn't worked out that way. And boy, oh boy, when Matt Ryan threw that little slant to Mike Davis and he dropped that ball in the first series when we had a chance to get a first down, I'm sorry. I see why Gallman got a lot of time in the second half. I really do. Okay, so Tampa did lose. Okay, Twan, I got you. Tampa did. Wow, that's deep. So again, any given Sunday, y'all, Tampa Bay, Dallas, those are the guys that everybody's saying is going to the Super Bowl, and they lose these crazy games. And I hate that because I had Brady as my fantasy quarterback too. So, thank you, Dave. I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate the update. We can say the Atlanta Falcons' identity inconsistency. And it should be inconsistent when you have new coaches and a lot of new starters, especially on the defensive side. It should be. I think because we look, when Matt has great games, we tend to think that his experience should at least squeeze us out 2 to 3 wins per season. Maybe that was what it was in New Orleans. New Orleans, he was by far the best player on the field. And he's going to give us 2 or 3 of them games. We need more than that, though, y'all. We need more than that. We need a lot more than that. Washington, beating up on the team. Wow, that's pretty good. Jack, what's going on, buddy? Say poor team effort. Not one person. I'm probably should not one person to blame. Probably that's what he's saying. Dwayne says that's why I said 2023. That will officially be a new beginning. And you're absolutely right. 220, and I was right with you. I'm listening to you. I was just talking to other people who don't understand what you're talking about, but you're right. 2023 is probably when this team will be looking to seriously turn a corner. Anything you get from Atlanta right now in 2021 and 22 is just kind of a bonus. The Atlanta Falcons will never come out and tell you we're not trying to win and not trying to be successful. But to Dwayne's point, the button starts. The start button, the timer starts in 2023. Marshall says not going for the field goal change momentum. I agree with you, Marshall. I agree with you. Melvin says coach is trash, period. Roderick said we don't have a line. The line looked bad. And it's so weird, Roderick, because we didn't play awful for 3 quarters last week, and we thrived. Running and a little bit of running, not a lot from Mike Davis, but we thrived last week when we kept Matt upright. And today was one of those times that we got behind so far that Dallas just started saying, you know what? Y'all got to throw the ball anyway. Y'all averaging 1 yard a carry, you got to throw it. We just going to send the house. So I don't blame anybody for, our O-line needs a lot of work. A lot of work. RJ says Mike Davis is a sellout. Fred, what's going on, man? Said today was an absolute embarrassment. Ricky said Uncle Steve, the entire team gave up playing in the second quarter. That second quarter was horrible. Carolina winning 17-0 with Cam, and you know what? I saw Cam score a touchdown. Boy, you knew. Woo! Carolina, boy, if Carolina comes back and Atlanta folks will not hear the end of it. What's going on, Chuck? How you doing, man? It says, understanding that the point total ultimately doesn't matter. It was still just sad. I'm still upset about blank hiring a coach before the GM. The GM is the guy that should be picking the best coach for the job. Is it just me? No, that's not just you. There's a lot of folks that thought that you should always get your GM first so he can kind of set the stage for what the team is going to be, and the GM gets to choose who his coach is. I've always kind of questioned that as kind of questionable to me. Yep, I agree with you. Isaiah says we do need more than 3 games of Matt playing lights out, but at the same time, we need other guys to step up. At Matt's age, he can't be asked to do it, regardless of experience. When you look at every quarterback that made it to year 14, they were asked to do less. Matt's is still asked to do everything, and he isn't capable at this point in his career. Isaiah, that is an absolutely good point, but that's also organization-wise because the organization didn't set him up for success. We tried our best to draft offensive linemen. We brought offensive linemen here as free agents, and it just hasn't worked because whoever was in the scouting department and the GM at the time, Thomas Dimitroff, he did not set us up with great players. We needed talent, and we just did not have talent. And when you don't have talent, you're not going to win. We see flashes of talent right now in Brother Pitts, and we see the talent that Cordell Patterson has right now. But right now, other than that, on this team, I mean, we just don't have a talented team. We have players that can make some plays. I think AJ is close to you can call him a talent. But you don't win if you don't have talented players. That team in Dallas, they have some talented players, and they had to pay a couple of bad years to do that. You look at CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, even Gallup, Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield. Tony Pollard is a nice transition from Ezekiel. And Dak Prescott playing at a high level. When you look at all those things, Dallas is a talented team. Until we go through that flushing out like they had to do a few years ago, and then, no, don't get rid of Dez Bryant. Dez Bryant is the best wide receiver since Michael Irvin. We'll never win without him. And they flushed him out with the rest of the old guard, and look at them now. Have more talent in the wide receiver core than they had probably since Alvin Harper and Michael Irvin lined up together. So sometimes you have to go through those type of things to understand that is what it takes to I don't care how you want to call it, rebuild, restructure your organization. We're not at a good place right now. And that's why when we have wins against New Orleans, and that's why when we sneak out a couple of last second wins, take that as good practice. There is nothing right now about the Atlanta Falcons that screams playoff team. There's nothing about the Atlanta Falcons right now that screams team of the future. We're still looking at evaluating picks for next year. We're still looking at trying to get our payroll right. We're not going to get up to Dwayne's point when he was talking about the year starting in 2023. That's why we have to think like that. 2021 and 22, we're stuck in cap purgatory. And people don't want to hear that. I see OBJ going to the Rams for less money. I see that. Who would want to come to Atlanta? Why would you want to come to Atlanta at this point? Of course you want to go to Kansas City for $2 million. Of course you want to go to the Rams right now for $1 million. Of course you do. Because you see they going somewhere. Nobody wants to do that with an Atlanta team right now. That would be foolish. So I'm not going to sit here and try to blow smoke up anybody's behind. This is the team right now that's in transition, folks. Get ready for possible debacles like this going forward. Tampa's got to come to town. They're going to be upset after today. They're going to be looking to beat us. Saints coming back to town after what we went through with them, they're going to be looking to beat us. There's no way that anybody can sell me on the fact this year that we are a bona fide playoff team, not a slip in because everybody else in the conference sucks team. A bona fide, we will cause trouble playoff team. Right now, November 14th. You can't say that. So as a fan base, I say get excited about the wins. You're supposed to. You're a fan. We beat New Orleans, our arch rivals, in their place. Get excited. Get hyped. But when we lose to arguably one of the top 3 teams in the NFC, one of the legitimate contenders for the Super Bowl, let's not act like this is a surprise. I'm not saying take the embarrassing loss. No, you got to fight. But let's not pretend like we were going to hang in here. And when you start talking about decisions at 4th and 7, that's why you make decisions like that, because you know this team is so much better. You have to do that. You have to go for that. All right, I'm coming down here. I see a lot of comments in here. I'm trying to catch up. Marcus says, frustrating. L, we're so inconsistent. 1 week up, 1 week down. Philip says, absolutely zero talent. Jess said, they also need to move. They also moved on from Tony, too. Orion says, also, like I said before, Steve, we have changed every position on the field, even the coach, to accommodate Matt, and we still get the same outcome. Time to bring in a new leader at quarterback. Jimmy Man says, do you think the GM and coach regret saying this is not a rebuild? Jimmy, if I was them, I never would have even put that in my mouth. That was ridiculous for them to put it from the beginning. I would never say that. Joe, what's going on, my friend? Say, what's happening, Steve? If the defensive backs would make some plays on the ball, our defense can get off the field. Joe, I was talking about that earlier. You see the difference over there in Dallas? They have talented cornerbacks that can play man. When you have cornerbacks that can play man, it makes your job for the front 7 so much easier. The plays that those guys were making on our receivers, yeah, it also had to do a little bit of lack of receiving talent that we have on the field today. But when you can play man, it frees up that front 7 to do a lot more. And that's what they did today. They took advantage of that. Travis, what's going on, man? Losing the game in the first half like that is unacceptable. Blow this whole thing up. We're not clutch versus playoff caliber teams. We got exposed for playing tomato can, but we are trash. Then the Patriots coming in here Thursday night. Lord have mercy. What's Dwayne, man? Be good, brother. Join us next week, brother. We're going to have you. Dre says, do you believe in tanking? I'm going to answer that in 1 second. Jerome, what's going on, Jerome? Jerome says, it doesn't take much motivation to beat this Falcons team. Yeah. Jimmy says, bad Falcons. I have no words. Oh, going back over here on the other side. I'm going to tell you, and I talked about this spring, it's hard to tank in football. And the reason I say it's hard to tank, because if you physically are out there playing and you're not playing to win and your body language is not playing to win, you're going to get hurt physically. So when I see guys talk about tanking, football is not a sport that you can do that in. Even if you put second stringers in at every position in football, they're going to try to win. And when you try to win, I think your adrenaline is up. You're up and you're in the game. It's hard to tank. Basketball, probably a little easier. Baseball, even easier. Football is one of those games that I just think is talent against talent. Today, we are not a talented team. Well, just overall, we're not a talented team. We had some pretty good performances in the 4 wins we had to get us where we got. But right now, we are not a very talented team, folks. We're not. Let me get back up here to the back. I'm sorry, y'all. Isaiah says, is it safe to say the Falcons organization has wasted the glory years of Matt and Julio, currently wasting what's left of Jake, Grady, and Debo? It's gonna be it's gonna be interesting, Isaiah, that you bring that up. Yes, we did waste those years with Matt and Julio. I think we even made a more emotional decision to re-sign them to incredibly high contracts that now have us tied up for the next couple of years. But yeah, we didn't get that window. With some teams, there's a window. New England is probably the only exception to the rule right now. But we had our window with the Falcons, and that window was between 15 to 17. And in that window, we should have closed the deal. We did not. And now we're just living off the 2016 reputation, which most of those guys are gone except Matty Ice. Jesse's not surprised. Isaiah said, I predicted 8-9 this season. A lot of people said less, and these same folks are mad at 4-5. Yeah, look, Isaiah, today is instant reaction. If your team gets beat 43-3, I'm sorry. It's going to be hard for people to get fired up about that. We got drugged today. Drug. and to all those folks like myself that have to go in to work and deal with that obnoxious Dallas Cowboy regime, Lord have mercy. The friends that I have online that are just going to remind me about this day, the same ones that reminded me about the debacle last year when we let them come back. Dallas Cowboys, I'm going to tell you what, and I say it again, the biggest front-running fans probably in major sports. Ricky says, so tomorrow's headline will be Dan Quinn gets his revenge on the former team as Dallas Cowboys stopped the Atlanta Falcons 43-3, and he should. Defense gave up 3 points. You got to give them credit where credit is due. Marcus says, I hate when our weak defense gets a turnover and the offense doesn't do anything. Dre says, what's going on, Dre? Say, I'm way out here in Irvine, California, and the buzzard wet the bed. Did not even compete. Just embarrassing on a world stage in an epic fashion. They are laughing at my team in Cali. And this was the national game for the first for the 1:00 game, too. That was embarrassing. Isaiah said Harris could have turned the game around in our favor when he dropped that pick six. Boy, that could have been. People talk about the 4th and 7 as they should, but boy, he got a great jump. And if he gets that ball from that, it does. It's amazing how a couple of plays can change the momentum of things. Just a couple of plays. That's all it takes. But it went downhill from there. That you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Isaiah also says, stop saying we played bad teams, and that's why we won. The Dolphins straight up manhandled the Ravens. And see, I'm not going to go to the bad teams analogy. I think if you ask me right now, out of 32 teams, there are probably 6 that I say I have faith right now that they're going to be in the playoffs and be a real contender. All the other teams, yeah, I say 6. It might be less than that. All the other teams are playing week to week. Each week, we live and die on a game. When we beat New Orleans, there was some of y'all out there trying to scream Super Bowl, and I was sitting up there trying to like a horse trainer trying to pull in the reins. Hold up. That's a New Orleans team that doesn't have Drew Brees anymore. Hold up, slow down. They're not. Don't pat yourself too hard. But the thing about beating bad teams and stuff like that, to your point, yeah, Ravens just lost to Miami. Again, Tampa Bay just lost to Washington. Kansas City has lost to a few teams. Detroit tied Pittsburgh. Yeah, I know Roethlisberger wasn't there. They still should have enough people to win that game. It's a every week game. And 17 little seasons. Each week is like a mini season. We build it up to this Sunday, and in 3 hours, you have an opportunity to show what you have. And then from 4:15 until the next game, we're going to criticize, analyze, and just try to figure out where our team is going. We're 4-5, y'all. I'm not trying to tell you don't have hope. I'm not trying to tell you not to stick with the team. I'm just trying to say look through real glasses. Look through real glasses and just don't over expect right now from our organization. And whether they want to tell you that or not, they weren't expecting to do a whole bunch this year. They're not. We didn't make off-season moves. We made off-season moves to be better. what happened right there. Sorry about that, y'all. The internet went goo-goo on me. Keith says it's going to be a while before we're competitive again like we were in 2008 through 2014. I think we have the right coach, and we're going to need players. Isaiah says the company I work for is based out of Dallas. I was talking big junk in the meeting on Thursday. Yeah, brother, you might want to bring some flowers to that game. they gonna roast you, Isaiah. You might as well get ready for that. Dallas has a voice this week, last week, where their fans were last week. Yeah, but I'm saying it's a week to week league, y'all. Week to week. Jeffrey, what's going on? Jeffrey says, we got to realize we're not that good. Dallas put skid marks on our minds today. Take it what it is. Move on to the next game, which is New England. You've got to move on to the next game. If you don't move on to this next game and get caught up in, especially on a Thursday game, that's the thing that scares me the most. The Thursday game, wow. You got to turn around after getting beat by 40 points and show everybody that, you're not going to give up on the season. That's going to be crazy. Our all-season moves were made to have something somewhat decent to put on the field, and that's what. And you said it perfect. Something somewhat decent. Right now, when you start talking about the Atlanta Falcons, what is your expectation? Is your expectation for us to really be a Super Bowl team? Is your expectation for us to really be a offensive juggernaut? I don't think so. So, you do the best you can, because this is not going to be it's not going to be pretty. Is that all season the stadium is going to be empty. Stadium is going to be ugly empty. Man, can y'all imagine going to that game? That is going to be I can't imagine going to this game against New England. This is going to be real ugly. But you know what though? This is the crazy thing. The way football goes, it wouldn't shock me if the Falcons came out and actually did something on Thursday. It really would not shock me. That's the way football is right now. It's an up and down, the ebbs and flows. It would not shock me if the Falcons came out and gave a concerted effort on Thursday. Look, we're going to sit here and we're going to chop it up on tomorrow for the aftermath. The aftermath is going to be something else because it's on to New England. We only have 48 hours, y'all. Not 48 hours, 72 hours to get ready. So we got to get this thing rolling and get it back in the right direction, y'all. Got to. Hey, appreciate y'all joining me for the last hour. Like I said, tomorrow will be the aftermath. If I'm not mistaken, we do Marcus usually comes on early. Marcus usually comes around 4. Tidy usually sweeps it up close to about 5, and then I ended up around 7 o'clock. So look for the admins to come in tomorrow. Check it out. We'll be taking calls tomorrow and looking forward to your comments. Until then, man, 43-3. Our Falcons get demoralized. But look, we're going to continue to talk about it. Join me tomorrow. We'll holler at y'all then. Y'all have a blessed evening.